Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Tomorrow's Weather Today. I am Jacob, and once again, we are talking about Invest 90L, um, which has an 80% chance over the next 2 days and 80% chance over the next 5 days. That is unchanged from yesterday. And the NHC is saying that the area of low pressure is um, better defined, according to satellite images, but the showers and thunderstorms remain disorganized, and that it's likely to become a subtropical storm depression um, later today or tonight when it moves easterly. Um, so one major change that I woke up to this morning is that the models have changed um, a lot. Um, so as we saw yesterday, all the models or most of the models were keeping it offshore and heading out to sea. The major change is that a couple models, the red one being the GFS here, um, bringing most of the energy into land, and we can show that on the GFS model. Some models do keep it offshore though, but this spread is ginormous. We are um, still a couple days away, so we obviously are going to have forecast errors, um, but both offshore tracks and onshore tracks are certainly possible with this system. Taking a look at surface observations, we can see that we have uh, a southwesterly wind on the east southeast side of the low pressure system, with basically southern winds on the south side. And you can see that we have easterlies and then northeasterlies. So I would definitely say that the low is definitely getting more closed and tighter, but it's still not there to be designated a subtropical depression yet. The intensity tracks are unchanged from yesterday, still bringing it up to a moderate subtropical or tropical storm. Looking at the visible loop here, we can see that you have all these winds at the surface or at the low levels coming in and being dragged in like that. And then winds wrapping around like this, and we do see evidence of winds going like that. So our low pressure system, our center of low pressure, is in there somewhere. Question is, how tight is it? Um, and it needs to be tight in order to be designated a subtropical system. Looking at the water vapor, we were talking about the um, upper level trough, which is basically over the system right now, and that's helping with the letting down the shear, which was when it is to the west of it, it was causing some problems with shear when it was originally over the Florida Panhandle, and 90L was down here. But now that it is over it, um, it's caused some light winds to go over top, and we can see that on the GFS, looking at the 250 millibar wind, is that that upper level trough is basically over the system with the light winds above it, under 20 knots of winds up there at 250 millibars. So taking a look at the GFS model, you can see our low pressure system here. Um, it's going to move it up the coast, make landfall in North Carolina, come out and then make a second landfall in the Delmarva region, maybe even New Jersey, um, and actually do a Fujiwara effect with this piece of energy where it pivots around. And you're going to see right here, there's some piece of energy that's going to break off, but for the most part, this is the energy still. It's right here, and it's going to pivot even farther down. Let's look at the winds. So the 10-meter winds. Um, so right now we do have that area of heavier winds. Here's your warm front right about there, that I was talking about yesterday, and we'll see that on the cyclonic curvature or cyclonic vorticity. Excuse me. Um, take it ahead. Still weak winds right here would be a tropical depression or subtropical depression still, as winds are only probably reaching um, 28 to 32 knots at best. You need 39 knots, and still here it doesn't look like it's reaching tropical storm strength, but with the millibars with the pressure, it definitely is a subtropical depression at this point, or a tropical depression. It looks like if this holds true, that Tuesday will be windy for the for Long Island, Connecticut, Delmarva region, and New Jersey, and it's going to be a windy few days, possibly with a lot of coastal flooding. I don't think storm surge will be a problem with this, but um, coastal flooding will probably be a problem. Um, Taking a look at our forecasted rainfall amounts, we are looking at anywhere from a lot. There's going to be a lot of rain. Everything in purple is 2 inches, so up the Carolina coast, North Carolina to Virginia, Delaware, parts of Maryland, and all of New Jersey, and Long Island, and parts of Connecticut and New York, and Pennsylvania are looking at 2 inches of rain plus from this. If we take it back, you can see that moisture come in and dump 2 inches of rain, which is a lot. And if we go to the climate prediction center site, we can see that this area does not necessarily need the rain, as there is no abnormally dry or moderate droughts. Um, so this would be a little much. I would expect some flooding to occur, unfortunately, which is not needed, obviously. So let's take this back and look at the 850 millibar vorticity. We can see that warm front up here um, with the winds changing direction and that cyclonic vorticity. See, it makes like that. So that's why you have that. And that warm front is going to detach from the main system, as we can see. And then, like I said, it's going to pivot. So here it is. It's going to really get lost, but it's like over here now. Looking at the 250 millibar winds again. Like I said earlier, here's our trough. It's over the system. I'm going to move it ahead. For the most part, winds are remaining light, but there is some evidence from the GFS that um, stronger winds aloft could lead to some shear. And then looking at, if we go to the 500 millibar height anomalies, what's going to be moving the system? Well, we have this ridge to the east of the system right here. Here's our system. Here's a ridge. This is going to be moving it towards the north and trying to shove it west. And we can see that it does good at that. If this trough was up here and was like that, this would slingshot it outwards. And I think we'll see that on the European model. And you can see that it gets dragged into that. So I wanted to look at one other, right, moisture. We're going to see the moisture field with this. So you can see right now, or when this run happened at 6Z, that we had some dry air getting in. And more dry air is going to it makes a bubble of moisture, but at some point this dry air is going to get wrapped into the system, like right here. And then even more dry air comes in when the other trough comes in. So we are now going to go to the European model. So here, it's off the coast of Florida, like we talked about, and it's going to move northwesterly, make a close by run at the North Carolina coast, but doesn't make it onshore like the GFS. And then it goes offshore. So let's look at the upper air height, the 500 millibar height, temperature and wind. Actually, let's look at, yeah, no, this is good. Um, so we can see that there is that ridge here. If we do take this out, we can see that this trough moves in fast enough to lift the storm out to sea, fortunately for the coast. Um, Looking at total accumulated precipitation, a very different story from the GFS. Not even an inch of rain for most parts, or maybe if a place does get a heavier downpour, maybe a few inches. But for the most part, it's looking pretty light as it makes it past of the coast of New Jersey and the Delmarva region and the Northeast, barely getting touched by any rain. So, in conclusion, this is probably going to form today, um, and hopefully stays off the coast of North Carolina and doesn't go into the New Jersey area because they don't need the rain. Um, and if this makes any major changes tomorrow, and I will have another video out tomorrow about this, um, for the track of the storm. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below any suggestions or comments that you have. Um, and I would love to hear your criticism too, as I am trying to get better. Thank you all for watching.